Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, everyone. My name is Hadi Akan Samudra, and my student number is C1G02510096. So, in this presentation, I will be discussing one of the most critical environmental issues affecting ecosystems worldwide. It is about water pollution, because the quality of water directly influences soil health, crop productivity, and the stability of ecological system. Okay, this is the introduction water pollution and why this is important. Okay, so as we know, water is the foundation of all life. Every living organism, humans, animals, and even microorganisms depends on water for survival. But today, water that should be a source of life has often turned into a source of problems. This is where understanding water pollution in ecology becomes important. So, water pollution occurs when harmful substances enter rivers, lakes, groundwater, or the ocean and disturb the balance of ecosystems. The problem is that aquatic ecosystems are fragile. Even small changes can significantly affect the organisms living in them, especially when the changes involve chemical waste, harmful bacteria, or heavy metals that are extremely difficult to break down. Okay, next slide. Where does it come from? Okay, there are industrial waste, domestic waste, agricultural, runoff, and plastics and microplastics. Okay, so there are several major sources of water pollution, and most of them come from human activities. Okay, the first, industrial waste. Factories, textile, mining, chemical, and many others often release wastewater containing heavy metals such as mercury, lead, and cadmium. These substances are toxic, even at low concentrations. Even worse, heavy metals cannot decompose, meaning they remain in the environment for decades. The second, domestic waste. Soapy water, detergents, organic waste, cooking oil, and human waste can flow into drainage systems and end up in rivers. In many areas, wastewater treatment facilities are still lacking, allowing household waste to flow directly into water bodies without filtration. And the third, agricultural runoff. Chemical fertilizers contain nitrates and phosphates. Pesticides contain insect-killing compounds that also harm aquatic organisms. When it rains, these chemicals are washed away and carried into water sources. And the fourth, plastic waste and microplastics. When exposed to heat and sunlight, plastic breaks into tiny particles. These particles can float in the water, be consumed by fish, and enter the food chain. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Ecological impact. So, in ecology, water pollution triggers layered and interconnected damage. There are 3 points. One of the most well-known impacts is eutrophication, when fertilizers or household waste introduce phosphates and nitrates into water bodies. Aquatic plants and algae grow excessively. The water becomes thick and green, covered with layers of algae, but when these algae die and decompose, the process uses up large amounts of oxygen. As a result, fish and other organisms die from a lack of oxygen. Lakes or rivers can turn into dead zones that can no longer support life. And another major impact is bioaccumulation and biomagnification. Heavy metals enter the bodies of plankton, or small aquatic organisms. When small fish eat the plankton, the toxins transfer into their bodies. Then larger fish eat the smaller ones. At every step in the food chain, in concentration of these toxins increases. Eventually, top predators and humans who consume seafood receive the highest levels of accumulated toxins. And pollution also causes physical damage to organisms. Pesticides can disturb the nervous systems of fish. Microplastics can block the digestive tracts of small creatures. Toxic chemicals can damage gills, interface with reproduction, and even cause mutations. Okay, next. Okay, so despite it's about the impacts on land and human. Contaminated water doesn't only stay in aquatic ecosystems. Polluted water that seeps into the soil can alter soil pH and reduce microbial activity. This leads to decreased soil fertility and declining agricultural productivity. And for humans, the impacts are even more serious. Polluted water can carry harmful bacteria such as E. coli, Salmonella, and Vibrio cholerae. If consumed or used, it can cause diarrhea, poisoning, skin infections, and various diseases. Heavy metals like mercury can cause nerve damage, kidney failure, and developmental disorders in children. In other words, water pollution is not just an environmental problem, it is also a public health problem. Okay, this slide about real-world evidence. So now let's look at two recent real-world examples. Okay, so the first, there is the Nag River in India, experiencing severe contamination. Recent inspections revealed that 11 out of 13 wastewater treatment plants in Nagpur were non-functional. This means millions of liters of household and industrial waste flowed directly into the Nag River without treatment. The river water turned dark, emitted pale odors, and became coated with fungal growth and chemical foam. The surface looked oily and greasy. This pollution killed fish and contaminated groundwater near the riverbanks. This case shows that water pollution is not a concept. It is a real and destructive phenomenon affecting thousands of people. And the second example, microplastics detected in rainfall around the world. The second example shows how widespread water pollution has become. Recent studies found microplastics falling with rain, even in remote areas far from major cities. These microscopic plastic particles come from degraded plastic waste, vegetable tires, and synthetic fabric fibers. When carried by wind into the atmosphere, they travel long distance and return to Earth with rainfall. This means water pollution has entered the global water cycle. From the sea evaporating, entering clothes, falling against as rain. Microplastics now enter soil, wells, crops, livestock, and even the human body. Okay, so guys, from this explanation, we can see that water pollution is a serious ecological threat. Its impacts are widespread, destroying aquatic ecosystem, degrading soil quality, disrupting food chains, and endangering human health. The two real examples make it clear that water pollution is not a distant problem, but an ongoing crisis happening around us and across the world. Protecting water quality means protecting life itself. Without clean water, no ecosystems can survive for long. Okay, so that's it my presentation, and thank you.